Hey, everybody. Welcome to Wednesday Night at the Crib. We're going to talk about the revival of the Retrofit Lab, uh, bringing back the new FM prizes, and we'll see what everybody thinks about the raid. So, join with me tonight from left to right is Father George.
Good evening, everybody.
Senior Daniel.
Hello, everyone.
Yours.
Science.
And Larry's not going to make it tonight. I guess it was sort of a last minute thing. It was this kid's birthday, so I don't know if he found out he had a new kid or he just sort of forgot about it till last night.
And you're saying that live on the air.
Whatever. Remember, he never watches the show. I could say whatever because he didn't even know when every time previously when he was gone, I would say he was off for he's casting for The Bachelor. So he never heard that either. So I guess I will go ahead and start the slides and screen share. And let's go from there. Alrighty. No bug fixes this week. So we don't have to talk about that. Everything in the game is perfect.
She's pretty close too.
Mm-hmm. The car, though, the car needs some work. I wanted to bring this up first. I'm sure we'll go off on some of the other stuff. Is the Retrofit Lab. They've added 5 major categories, but even more smaller categories because on the bottom of this, all of these alloy strengthening are major categories. We can start at the top. Munition systems. There's some good things in there. Is that you? Or is it George? Okay, the way. Stop now. We've had armor-piercing shells, seismic rounds, drum reloaders, cannon system 4. Actually, none of that stuff is seismic rounds, I guess, but that's the general stuff. It's nothing I'm using a ton of at this point. Is anybody else using a ton of that?
I'm not using any of that. The interesting ones are further down for me.
Yeah. I just wanted to go through that. And then the next 3, I think the next 3 are useful. Compressed corrosion canisters, narrowed firing aperture, and hydroxide injector.
Yep.
So those are all useful.
Yeah, especially if you're going to be using any of those on or against the rage.
Mortar systems is the 3rd category. Nerve-ready explosives, which came out with the sloth. Precision napalm detonator, which is that a rocket? Is that the rocket one?
I think so. I don't know.
I do recall it being phallic shaped.
Well, that doesn't help.
If it's the rocket one, like the Biofield didn't work with rockets; it only worked with mortars. And
Well, yeah, it's under mortar systems. It's splash explosive damage and a chance at a fire field.
Yeah.
And all this does
okay,
is
so it's not the rocket one. Okay. I'm sorry.
No, there's rocket load systems further down. That's what you're looking for.
Okay. Alrighty. Delta V mortar focus, which gets projectile speed, and trajectory plotter, which is a generalist
only. Yeah.
Which also gets projectile speed. Alrighty. I'm surprised viscosity regulator got a boost.
Well, it only got the radioactive damage and accuracy on it. Didn't get the.
Yeah. You can get the splash.
Yeah. But both that and atomic targeting, I mean, that's, the accuracy and the damage are going to be really interesting. given the new weapon and stuff.
Expanded fulmination payload. I think that's the one I was.
That's the
thinking
one you
of.
were thinking of, I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know why you need more rocket reload because, I mean, damn, the hull that you're using it on doesn't even need it.
The other
Yeah.
thing shaped like a rocket.
Yes. Unless I don't know. Unless they're going to get some sort of defender hull that doesn't have all the reload, or I don't know what they're planning with this. And
That one might actually need 60% rocket range.
Okay. Well, it doesn't really add rocket range, but
Well, no, the defender hull might actually need 60% rocket range to have it keep up.
okay. Unless they do that thing they did a while ago with the duality Firestorm. But that's a whole nother story.
Sorry, that was kind of deep.
Yes. And compressed exhaust vent, which is also generalist only. Multi-barrel systems, which adds multi-shot and scattergun reload. And it's fairly light for adding scattergun reload. It's its own special, so if you're going to research that, I can see a lot of reasons to do it. But I'm just sort of glad to see them bring this back, because it seems like Retrofit Lab has been forgotten for a long time.
Yeah, and I think part of it is, because when they had started coming out with this new stuff, they said that they had, planned it as already being at R15. And now that some of this tech is a little bit older and the hulls that are coming out, the power creep's going up, it's time to put some of this stuff in there. I'm glad they did it.
Yeah. And this last category, which I know it probably confused a couple people right away. These are the ones I put in. Each individual need to be researched individually, all four of them. The top three are specials that have not been released yet. The bottom one was released last FM cycle. They're all generalist only. Alloy panels is a generalist special. Alloy armor is a non-class specific special, and we'll see a little bit of that in a minute, because we just got one today in the FM, which is, we can talk about it more later, but
I'm gonna look in game right now. I believe alloy. I'll look, but I thought alloy panels was for turrets, because I don't see why they would release retrofit categories for specials that did not yet exist.
Yeah, that's the weird thing about it. Yeah, I mean, you can look. I think you'll find what I saw.
I'll look.
Yeah, it is a little
challenge
odd.
accepted.
Yes, go for it, sir.
Do the science.
Yes. Alloys panel is corrosive and missile, and we got that last FM cycle. The other three have yet to be released. So we at least have a roadmap of what's going to happen with the generalist hull. Again, these are only for generalists. While you're in there, Brian, I keep on forgetting the name for the alloy armor special in the Retro Lab.
Once this game decides to load.
Okay, I'm ready.
The alloy panels. The alloy panels are for turrets, though, and I
No,
think you get those.
okay. I'm not getting confused here. I'm not getting confused here.
Equip turrets.
I mean, I think you get those from the dubs.
Put them on my front line. Okay, alloy panels, com. Okay, we do have that. Now let's see the blueprint. Alloy panels CM, alloy panels XM, and MR. They're turret specials.
Yeah.
Why do I have? What is the one that? What is the one that we have? Okay, let me see if I can get to it.
The generalist only special is the amalgam armor. Let me find the exact name for you, because it's in tier 4 of the FM. The GCOM amalgam armor is the ship special for generalist only that is penetrating and corrosive defense. The alloy armor com is all of these specials that was just released today.
Okay,
Oh.
so okay.
More pen defense.
So the
What?
CM alloy is alloy pin. Okay, that hasn't been really okay. It's sort of confusing with all of these combo things going on here. All right, so I got
Alloy panels.
Yeah, I think I got confused too because I thought the calm alloy strengthening was actually for the generalist one, but it's not. That's
I mean,
for
they look
the base defense one, right?
Yeah, let's see.
The turret special.
okay. Well, at least we got the part
Forward-
right. That alloy armor that goes with alloy defense system for the non-class specific specials, such as
I mean,
MC, MX3, CX3, MS3. That all goes with that.
and you'd be getting
And
them
the alloy
confused
armor
because they
does-
look incredibly similar.
Yes.
The names are, the names are,
And they
Okay.
look similar.
yeah.
But yeah,
Alrighty. Oh well.
it's for the turret stuff.
Alrighty. Well, okay. So I just don't own them. They're available somewhere.
From Drac bases.
From the dubs.
Subsector bases.
No, not the alloys.
Right.
No, those are from dubs.
Wasn't one of the okay. Let me go and look at the rewards and see what I can get from a draconian base, what the game calls a subsector base.
Mhm.
Dang it, game.
Live research on the show.
Or it's not.
Mhm.
Yeah, we are prepared.
Why not?
What are you
I
looking
pretty
at?
much know that the alloys come from the dub because I got them like in the last year.
I'm trying to find where the heck.
I'm glad you guys can remember where the
It's
hell
not
you get all
giving-
your crap, because I don't remember where I got half of the damn tech I got.
Crap, I'm in teal. Fine. I'll go somewhere else.
Noob.
Okay.
Moving on.
VXP weekend.
Yeah, we'll get back to this.
Okay, yeah, VXP weekend is coming upon us this Friday, and they've extended the high payout targets to 36 hours as they'd always been before. Everybody thought the 9 a.m. to 9 a.m. last month was a typo, and we've realized it wasn't, and they've gone back to 36 hours.
So from VXP day to VXP day and a half.
Yeah.
Yay, the manner to which we have become accustomed.
Yes. It's like, I don't know. I don't have that much stuff to rank up because I was going to do, because of what they did with the titanium conversion inside of your Mega, you don't have to really deal with your Conqueror Halls anymore. You don't have to deal with your Justice. So you're basically left with
I mean,
PvE.
if you own a Mega,
If you want a Mega, yeah.
what that one person in America, this guy. Actually, no, probably more than one.
Yeah, there's probably more than one person in your house that doesn't own a Mega.
Well, they don't play.
Okay, well, yeah.
Kinda
They don't own Megas either. But yeah. Alrighty. So that's a good move. And also, I think it was a good move at least to add an alternative, especially for the Conqueror Halls, which XP Weekend was the only way to really deal with them at all. Not that I consider the current system outside of the XP Weekend and what has recently been added to be something that's enjoyable or to really be supported as far as just either paying gobs of money or going out and hitting cargoes like an idiot. So I hope to make larger sweeping changes with the XP Weekend.
But you can't even hit cargo with tier 6 Conquerors.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. There's no way to do it with tier 6 Conquerors. But I'm saying the rest of it is still broken.
Oh yeah, it all sucks.
Yeah. So, alrighty, let's move on, and things will progress. Other stuff. Homeland's getting run again. There's some good stuff if you don't already have it. The Hyena is not as powerful as it once was, but it still, it still does its job.
Ooh,
And,
I would
I mean,
I would have
it's
to agree with that one.
It's the best we've got, if nothing else.
Yeah, that thing right there, if set up properly in your base, can actually hurt rages. The other thing I would like to mention too, though, is that this TLC came out before the last Garrison raid. Folks, tridents don't work in it, or at least that's what I've been told. I haven't tried it myself yet, but don't. Back in the day, cold snaps couldn't be shot down. These are the old cold snaps. Don't expect your tridents to be the cure-all.
But the good news is you have icebreakers. Probably. Run rampant. Revel in the destruction of your enemies.
Yeah.
If you have icebreakers, I went through run 1 and 2 last night for instant repair, and I'm sure there's things I could change my icebreakers, and I don't own the Visagos, so yeah, it was fairly easy to do that. And then thrown in there's a Conqueror one that you can still easily do with Muddle Glots if you have them. No damage, and it's quite amusing to watch everything.
And if you have rages, they are. I don't know actually if they're terribly not prepared for rages, but I think rages will do fine.
Mhm.
See the enemy driven before you and hear the lamentations of their women.
Yeah.
Now that I can click on a Drac base, what the actual balls do you give me? Bombard platform. Frontline. Okay, frontline platform CX. So it's those. It's the. I was looking. It's late panels.
It's the old ones.
So it's other defense specials, or other different specials. Fire support M. Yeah. Okay. So it looks like we got the alloys from the dubs. The Drac bases themselves are just other general specials.
Okay.
So go build an ironclad and hit some dubs.
There you go. Glowing Nav Relay 85s are now we'll drop 80 shards. So if you got your you were able to get 125 last weekend during the raid.
Yeah.
So
About that.
well, I'm sure
Might have
Daniel,
slacked off.
Daniel probably did.
Yeah.
I believe my reaction to that was F that, but
Yeah, yeah, we'll talk more about the raid. I have a little thing at the end. The FN has been extended until midnight on Tuesday.
Hasn't it always been on midnight on Tuesday?
No, it's 9 p.m. PST on Tuesday. It's midnight on Tuesday if you're on the East Coast. But now it's 3 a.m. on Wednesday for you.
Oh,
in the future, etc.
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
And they've changed some. They changed the voodoo on the prize pool in the FMs as well. I am interested to see what they removed and if their things have just been, put into some sort of netherworld, or if they're available in other ways. I really wish they had just kept everything in the FM and just moved them down. Because FM1 or prize pool 1 is just small, it's like 8 things. So it would be nice if these things were available in some way, because I don't think people are complaining that they're not getting enough. They haven't made their way through FM prize pool 1.
The 1 hour research tokens.
Yeah.
I think they can live without their 1 hour research tokens.
Or the 12-hour research tokens, or even in Prize Pool 3 with 1-day structured build tokens, these things aren't people aren't clamoring to get to the end of those prize pools. I think it's a good move. I mean, each basically, depending on the raid, you basically end up with either +3. I don't know. There's too many variables as far as how many weeks between raids, or how many items they add to each prize pool. But too many variables to really calculate. But this is a significant amount of time that's been chopped off.
I think it's a big step in the right direction, but like I've been calling for this for a while, but I wanted everything to get moved down in tier because the tech depth is really important in this game, and taking them out while the idea is good, it also prevents people from building that tech depth.
And the problem is, as things get better and move forward, you're going to plan for players to have certain things like that. You have to have some base assumptions, and like I'm looking through, I'm not seeing the Scoria missile. So you're either going to have a 1300 damage missile or a 5700 damage missile. Big difference.
Well, I mean, the best example that I've used is the Trident. Like I got it when it first came out. Happened to test it for that garrison preview, and a lot of people didn't have it because it was old tech. It hadn't come out. I mean, it was crap when it came out. I mean, it was absolute shit. And now all of a sudden it's holy crap. You just never know when you're going to need the tech. And I really would have liked to see that stuff bumped down to lower tiers so people could actually have access to it at least.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, or put into cargoes, or something that allowed access. All right. Alloy.com. We've been waiting for 9 weeks. It's a great little armor special for your ships that is available in the Alloy Defense Systems, as I think we were talking about earlier.
No.
And not an Alloy Defense Systems. What's the name of it?
You cannot retrofit. Wait, are those rank 15?
No. Mine's are
What the
15.
hell? Oh, that's oh, they would have added it into the
they've added into the
General Alloy Armor.
No, what's it called?
category.
Alloy Defense Systems, or what's it called?
I don't know.
Oh, that's right, something
It's
like that.
already in there.
Yeah. No, you're right. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. It has a build time of 8 hours, 51 minutes, if you have the right R&D. And again, this is something that we've been waiting for a while, and it'll probably change the way you want to allocate your armor panels, because everybody previously has been going with RA3 and then slapping on corrosive armors disproportionately. So it starts off at 45-45. The R15 only increases the penetrating defense. So at R0, this is 45-45. So you're only getting 1/2 of it. But
they might add that coming up later, because I know they've been looking at changing the corrosive, adding it to different things too, because it's in the what is that? What's that crew that does 10 and 15%?
Steelheads.
Yeah, Steelheads has it, but it's not listed.
okay.
So
So may actually be doing it, but not just show up on the blueprints?
No. I think they would have to go in and actually change it. So like I'll ask and see if they got plans for that or not.
Okay.
I mean, it makes sense. Everything else has it in there. Corrosive is now particularly important as it's a major damage type in one of the 4 raid cycles. You know what I mean.
Off topic. Where in the hell are these glowing nav relays that they were talking about?
At Dubs.
The 85s, yeah, they're right next to right next to the dub. There's a whole different levels of them. I forget all the numbers because I haven't really been hitting them. They're where the 91s are. They're in the same neighborhood.
Yeah,
So I just don't have any here. Okay, that's good.
And I think you don't need to have it in sector threat orange.
Yeah, they'll show up all the time as far as what I've seen. Okay. Yeah, this is, the main thing about this is it's got a good weight, and it's going to help you out. I just might have thought about differently is how I might have purchased charged armors in the past, but it's to see, but it would have been better to see months ago.
Yeah, I mean, the timing is a little bit off, but it actually kind of fits with the escalation idea, right? I really like the fact that it's already in the lab, though. That was a good move.
I mean, it's this weird sort of mind game because now they give us more corrosive defense, basically. And if we put that on, we're lowering our pen defense. And a lot of us, again, we didn't put as much pen on our ships because we had our A3 that was literally our only option. And if they do, because these targets deal both. I'm not sure if every single source does both, but I'm not sure if they're going to up the amount of corrosive or if they're going to up the amount of penetrative to screw us after we switch away to the new tech, because I will put nothing past them at this point. It's a little unsettling, and it should have been. Daniel, stop playing StarCraft 2. It should have been.
That's not me.
Is that who's clicking the hell out of their mouse?
You asked.
It's
I'm
not
not
me,
even
it's
touching
not
the
you.
mouse. And then Brian's talking and waving his hand.
I'm using my touchpad right now because I can get away with it. So there is no clicking.
Whatever that means. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, that's probably me. Oh, I'm playing the game. I'm playing.
Right, go ahead, Brian. I'm sorry.
Oh boy.
Yeah, no, it's. I mean, even in adopting this new special, there's a certain level of trust that they won't just put the pen damage to over 9,000, or massively up the damage in general. See also the June raid and the TLCs. Hence, so I usually like to balance out my resistances on hulls, but I'm not 100% sold on this just yet.
Yeah, because they have never published what the differences are. So yeah, if they change those ratios, I agree. I never really know exactly what to pick.
The hell is that now?
I don't know. Alrighty, should we move on to the next one?
Yeah.
All right. The Plastes UAV. It's just genus of wasps, as you might have guessed. This is the next step after the Banded Hornet.
Wait, was it genus or was it the family? I couldn't remember.
It's the genus. I think
Son
it's
of a bitch.
Politae or whatnot is the family of that. It's the only genus in that family. So, it could probably be used interchangeably in a lot of ways. I am surprised. A little disappointed in the fact that they, previously in the last raid cycle, when they did the escalation weapons, they were lighter. And this is the one of, the next one's going to be heavier as well. The fact that they made them heavier is, I don't love, because it requires greater refits. I mean, maybe the assumption is you get the luxury item of the charged armor and you're chopping weight off of your hull.
Yes, I think that's it.
Yeah, and so this is making up for that because your refits don't already include adding specials and whatnot, but also adding charged armor, which, I mean, especially when they have this push for PvP, and they're just throttling your shipyard with this kind of stuff. I mean, it wouldn't have been as bad if these were lighter. But as far as looking at the weapon, it does more DPS. It's not tricky. I mean, not a huge amount more. And it does more DPS per ton, as far as we know. And it's got one shorter range, which I'm not sure. I'm not a Skyfire person, but I'm not sure that makes a huge difference.
I mean,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I think they'll probably catch up to you and hit you once or twice anyway. I don't think the range is going to make a difference. The thing I want to point out is even at Skuld, you have a second longer reload. It's twice the reload. And yes, that's a negative, but you have a lot of ship DPS on your Skyfires. So you're gaining that as well.
So a larger first strike. I put together,
I think a larger second strike and beyond. I don't think it kind of stores itself up like that.
yeah, I do have a thing dealing with first strikes, but I'm sorry, go ahead.
I do want to point out one thing though, just because it was a dev pointed it out to me today when I was discussing this with them. Because I like using things in odd ways. This is only for assault class ships, FYI. So it's not going to go on any defenders. It's not going to go on anything else. My hopes were dashed very quickly.
Was that the homework lesson that I passed on?
That was part of the homework lesson that you passed on, yeah.
I see. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Hello.
I missed the whole class thing, and I think he took great joy in pointing out the fact that they had already thought us that. So, we've trained you well, Kixeye. Did Hefe pop? Are we going to another slide? What's going on?
I don't know. Well, I guess you have no one to blame but yourself. I don't know.
Oops.
So,
I just ran into a turret, son of a bitch.
what are you doing? 113s?
No, I'm trying to do one of these 85s, see what the hell they're about.
See if they actually pop anything good.
Oh, hell if I know. I'm just trying it.
I think it was a chance to drop the KD shards too. So you might not get those, but you'll get some titanium, which is nice.
Oh, good. I need some titanium.
Yeah, I wonder how many you have to hit before you actually. Again, how rare is rare?
I don't know. We have rare, like, the old Proto-Nemesis. That's rare.
Yeah, we got rare like bullseye brigades too.
And we have rare, like, critical chance hits. I mean,
I prefer rare like the meat.
Yeah, you can get it all the time. Just ask for it.
Right.
I'm going to be cooking that as soon as the show's over. So that's why I want the next slide. I want to get this done. I'm hungry.
Alrighty. This is the UAV upgrade. Adds a chain count. Everyone here has been using the Skyfires. Do you think you would actually take advantage of that additional chain count?
I am, yes. Well, I plan on it. I haven't finished my Skyfire fleet yet. I'm waiting for more tokens, but yes.
What I'm saying is, after using them, would you find an additional chaining? Did anybody use them enough to know if this is useful at this point?
Well, the man that could give the best description would probably be George. What is a chain count? Does that mean it goes to one more target?
More ship.
Before
One more
coming
target.
back?
One more jump, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would make a huge difference in the targets that we were hitting this weekend.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, that's what I'm saying, because I wasn't sure if they were coming back and it was all good. Okay.
No, they
So-
would hit 4 targets and leave 1 target that you had to go back and kill, usually taking damage when you did it. If it would kill 5 instead of 4, it's going to make a big difference.
Okay. Alrighty. Well, glad to hear that. I was just Just making sure, since I've never used them on my Phoenixes. And the Manus missile. 8 hours, 21 minutes. Has the Scoria effect of the 25% chance of critical damage. I've added that into the bottom two. I've only done the ship DPS because the difference is not huge between ship damage and building damage. It's got a longer reload time. And this looks a little confusing.
Yeah, it looks real confusing.
Well,
It's longer reload, less DPS per ton in both instances.
Well, I don't.
Yeah.
The
DPS only gets.
788.
I'm going to explain it in a second.
All right. The only thing that I could think that this would actually really help on, like, worth refitting is if you were having problems with the Rudolph.
No, I think it's got a wider application than that. Basically, looking at DPS and DPS per ton, it's like, why am I going to do this? And if you take an initial look at the amount of damage that they do with the first time that they hit, it's
You're gonna go to the one shot for deflection, yeah.
Well, no, it doesn't even deal with that. You're dealing with 8.4 versus 5.7. It's only going to be doing, I'm going to put a little chart here, it's only doing normally, and that's just what the next chart is, it's just what doesn't even include the criticals. It's just dealing with this. Is that 19 difference? And how long does it take for them to make that up? Okay, this is with the legendary ship. So with so basically it's 400 times whatever. So basically the Talon is firing with the 400% you get from legendary. The Talon is firing every 2 seconds. The Manus is firing every 3 seconds. Not assuming no other specials are adding 30% or all inherent.
Right. Yeah.
I just wanted to simplify things. So what happens at time 0? The Talon fires and the Manus fires. This is the damage. The delta is the Manus is doing 1.5% more damage. Okay, Talon fires at 2 seconds. The Manus fires at 3 seconds. Talon fires yet again at 4 seconds. Still at 6 seconds, the Manus, even though it has a lower DPS, is still doing 8.7% more damage. Again, this 2 second versus 3 second, 12 seconds, it's the Manus is still doing 4.2% more damage. You get to 18 seconds, yada yada. It's just taking that small difference in DPS.
If you're getting to 18 seconds, there's a problem.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean,
You're fighting a Hellstar City.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, even at 24 and once these things meet up again, it's the Talon hasn't caught up with the Manus because of that initial difference as far as the cumulative damage that it's doing. The Manus missile is an improvement, and I'm sure it would be a large improvement, especially with things like the drones that are that might take less hits or whatnot, certain things. So basically, you're compressing the amount of time that you're going to kill something, and like that. So yeah.
Does that make? And I remember I just got home from work, so what I read today is not real clear in my memory. They made specific mention that you need to keep or find something that helps boost the reload, correct?
Well, it's right there. It's right there. The flavor text I've been tending to ignore. Provided the ship using it has a necessary reload mechanism to keep it firing.
Right.
So these things are. This table isn't going to change if both have the same reload. I mean, reload's not going to, because they both have the same reload time. If you change it percentage-wise, it's not really going to change this. I mean, it could change the mechanism within the game, but if this is basically if you're hitting a single target, continuing to hit it, unless it has antis, something like that.
Well,
if the ship had antis, makes a huge difference. Then it actually goes.
Let's also think about this in a different way. They make specific mention of the fact that you need something to increase your reload. If you start using the kinetic buffer on different things, you're going to slow that reload down, making that difference greater.
Fault, that's projectile
Kinetic
speed.
buffer slows projectile speed, not reload.
Yeah. One just to note here, right? That 2,654 initial damage, the one-shot damage off of the Manus, the increase on a fleet that's got what did I do? 36 of them, 36 weapon slots. You know, because you're gonna have some antis or something. That's 100,852 damage just on the initial shot. Difference.
How many Liberator refit tokens do I have again? Let's count them down.
I'm concentrating on just on the FM. I mean, I have all sorts of ideas for this for other applications, but
I mean, it's a little annoying, but it's also kind of first world problems that this is second. You get the Skyfire stuff first, and then you get this, so you can't get this till next week.
the other thing is, if I have to go back and actually look, but if you're running from the drones and you're only doing 50% damage to them as you're driving away, then this increase isn't going to take care of the drones. But if you're bringing them down to a third or less of damage, I think the switch to this would actually be able, I think the switch to this would actually be able to kill the drones on that initial shot. Now the turrets, I think, were 2 or 3, and same with the pancakes. It was like 2 or 3, depending on which turret it was or which pancake it was.
I think
so you might be able to one-shot them.
I don't know, because the building damage is lower. The building DPS is actually a little lower because the building damage for the Talon is also 5750.
Yep. And the thing is, I don't know when the critical chance calculation is done. Is it upon firing or upon hitting? Because that would make a big difference.
Would it?
That one. Yeah, because if you have a cluster of missiles going in and the first half of them bring it down to 50% health, and then they do the calculation as they hit, the last half of that cluster of warheads is going to be crit chancing. Whereas if they do it when it's first launched,
if you have 16 that come up, if you have 6, let's say you fire 16 and 4 hit, they all have 25. So I don't know. Are you following what he's saying, Brian?
Sort of. The problem, well, almost all the time, assuming your ships are stacked perfectly, your missiles are all getting hit at the same time. If
they don't, they don't, because even putting them somewhere different on the hull changes where they are in the air. They don't all fire exactly.
Or you could stagger. You could stagger your landing. We're gonna get to that special in a minute, and you could put that on half and leave the other half not on there.
All right, but then it does depend on when they do the calculation. If they do the calculation upon firing,
All right, who has the TV on?
I do.
Not Rum.
All right. Okay.
Not Rum's fault this time.
No, I don't remember blaming you for much, but okay. So basically, as far as the recommendation, once you win this, refit it on there if you have time, but don't kill yourself to get it done.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think maybe a mix would be better.
That's what I mean. You would end up with a mix at that point if you started putting a couple of on at a time.
You might even have to because of the weight.
Yeah, because it is heavier, significantly heavier. What the specials are. Plus, of course, I'm confused by them adding weight to that because that doesn't feel right. I really still wish that they had removed the refit penalty. the cost to just take weapons off. Manus means hand. Just in case you were wondering. All right, advanced optical tracking for 13 hours. You get 25% projectile speed.
Oh, it's that long? And taking off your old special.
Okay, yeah. Whatever that is. Okay, so we're up to 16 hours or whatever. 15
Yeah,
hours.
16.
Yeah, 16 hours.
That's 2/3 a day over 4 ships is 8/3 days, which is almost 3 days. No, I don't want it. It's nice, but if I could afford the time,
I'm already using guided missiles, so
yeah, you also lose the tiniest bit of accuracy. Normally, I wouldn't care, but we're against drones with God tier evade, so I'll hold on to every bit of accuracy I can get.
Yeah. This is at R15. Maybe once they throw this in the retro lab in 9 months, there'll be a difference. Yeah, it's definitely not a priority, at least in my mind, just to get the plus 25 projectile speed. It's not.
Missile was so important they had to capitalize it.
Well, it is an assault raid. And if it was missile in a garrison raid, it would have been lowercase.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, the missile. There was only one missile.
Yes.
It's
Alrighty.
important enough to be a proper noun.
Lost Continent. Anybody want to talk about the past raid and the path forward to the next raid as far as what
Damn it. Now I have to Google wrist and forearm exercises because you brought it up again.
you see?
I dislike having to come on and seeing a mountain that I have to climb on a raid when I have all the top shit.
Especially after you have to swim across the water to get to that mountain.
I believe that's called an island.
It's got cliffs.
I was talking about the points, but yeah, okay, maybe that's why they put that on there.
Yeah.
I mean, that background picture, that looks like Antarctica just got broken off and is mad at you.
It looks like they took a picture of like Gibraltar and just kind of tweaked it and then copied it back to back on each side.
I'm just imagining the Arctic ice shelf with also spikes, and everything is glowing and interactive because it's Reavers.
Is this hinting like we're gonna like see dinosaurs soon in the game? I mean, wasn't that like an old TV show? Or was that the Land of the Lost? That's what it was.
Land of the Lost. We're in Hari.
Not that old, sorry.
Oh, okay.
Didn't they have a TV show with dinosaurs? Where they crash landed?
That was Land of the Lost, but they didn't crash land. They crashed through the earth or something like that.
Oh.
Wasn't it, Rum?
What is it?
Yeah, I thought it was. They I don't know how they got there, but they got there. Is that the one with the slee stacks?
It was yeah, and it was the claymation thing. That shit was the bomb, man. I love that.
We're in Hari. That's all I remember. Slee stacks and we're in Hari, because whatever that creature was, he couldn't pronounce their name.
I was just waiting for something to get eaten by a dinosaur. That's all.
Oh, yeah.
I was teeny tiny.
Teeny tiny. A tiny George. There never was such a thing.
Teeny tiny. So, what did you guys think about the raid? What did you guys think about the raid point requirements? What did you guys think about the time investment that you had to make for this raid if you wanted to actually, be a top end PvE player with all the cool toys and be able to get what you wanted out of the raid?
Okay. Well, I mean, the points sucked. The Gyptus 100,000 every asset, that sucked. I'm still assuming 25 minutes in that set. I'd have spent about 8.5 hours this weekend playing, and I worked a lot of those days, and McAfee wants to do something. So I worked most of those days, and so I just didn't have a whole lot of time. I spent most of my Saturday here, nearly on cooldown, just hitting those targets and slower pairing, and then getting back on until I just got sick of it. There wasn't motivation to go and hit another 10-minute target for what? You know, the S set didn't actually even get you a piece of corrosive charged armor, and barely got you missile charged armor, and the other prizes were just not good enough. And then they took a particular prize and made it 40 million more on accident, except on purpose. And it took a whole subset of prizes and made them 40 million more on purpose. But, you know.
How about you, Daniel?
I usually stay on. I'm the type of player that stays on all the time when it's raid time. But it was before. It was. I would just get my points at the beginning, and then I would be helping everybody in the raid. But this time, I just don't. I don't feel like I don't have the drive to go help everybody in the raid anymore, because it's just so much. The grind is so much for my own
You're
raid.
burnt out.
Yeah, I'm just burnt out after doing my own raid. I don't have the drive to go back and do other people's raid as well.
See, and I think that's actually a good point, because after a couple of months of having to have, you know, hundreds of millions of points, people are starting to get burnt out just having to put in that much time just to get what they want, rather than, you know, by choice because they want to help people. That's a good point. Rum, what about you?
Miserable. Entirely too
I
many
know you are,
points.
but
Too many points, too much time. Yeah. They've taken the fun out of it.
yeah, it's. I mean, I enjoy driving them. I mean, I gotta say they're much nicer to drive than the last few raids, because there's no, you know, absolute thing. Oh, hey, McAfee got closed. Awesome.
What do you mean?
You didn't see the slide was up. The McAfee thing showed up on Hefe's computer.
No, I didn't see
But
that.
yeah, I mean, it's. I don't know. There's some issues they have to address with the raids, because it's getting to the point where people are. I mean, I was burnt out enough. Like, I used to merc all the time. I haven't done it in months, and in this raid, I didn't even. I barely got like 120 million points. I was like, I got on. I was like, went on to one of the, I think it was Thomas's spreadsheet, and I was like 400 and something million. Fuck that. And I just went back outside.
Yeah, I mean it's the charged armors. That's really what it is.
Well, no, I
Is-
mean, look, I've spent the time, and you know, I've done the time investment. I've spent some coin. I've put in seat time. Like, I got my PVE on the top end of the game. I expect to have an easy time of it in raids, right? Which includes my seat time. Like, if I want to stay on the game because I want to help people a merc or something, that's one thing. But if you go, hey, we're gonna, you know, if you want to get everything that you want, because, you know, you're an end game player, you're gonna want all the cool toys, right? Well, all those cool toys are gonna cost you 420 million. Yeah, no, that's not how that works.
The other thing is with like cool toys, like, okay, if I wanted to build Skyfires, I'm building Phoenixes. Now I need to get all of the charged armors to go with them, right?
Yeah.
And, you know, there's no reason to get the Gutsbill Phoenix unless you're going to get charged armors for it. And they're going to cost you a lot of money, a lot of points or money or whatever, time. I don't know. And you know, the biggest problem I had, you know, which I talked about on Friday, was the lack of clarity associated with the locked store. And I'm even more upset now about it with escalation weapons, because I went and spent the time to build out my Gutsbill Phoenix with pellets. I couldn't even use it in the raid because my original plan was to spend 14 million with my Phoenixes, and then I had a 3-day build token, I was going to throw on some charged armor into my Gutspill Phoenix and then go forward and prosper. But that wasn't, I had to get 54 million, which is much more difficult with 4 Phoenixes, because I don't have the time or inclination to just sit there and grind like I used to. So yeah, now I have to spend the time to potentially take all those things off for a ship I never used in the raid. So I don't know. Does that make sense?
Yeah, the escalation's a piece of crap.
Oh yeah, it's just hot garbage, and it's forcing refits at the end of a raid cycle
For something you don't know what you're going to use.
I mean, well, this is the end of the raid cycle. If you don't know what you're going to use right now, you're screwed, and there's nothing that can help you.
But that's not the fear. I mean, the fear is that they're gonna tune the targets to these weapons.
I think the expectation is that they're going to tune the target to these weapons. I don't give a damn what they said. If they're not, they're going to lose money because of it.
No, they wouldn't lose money because it wouldn't be the only people that could actually refit this.
And Daniel, you're having mic issues again.
Oh.
I'm sorry.
No, assume 9 hours, x 36 missiles. That's what? 9x 1.5, so 13 and a half days with 2 weeks to go before the raid.
Yeah.
You're fine. Blow a token if you desire, but there's time to do it completely free, which in my mind is only going to increase the expectation of players doing it, especially if you've already spent the last 2 months getting that fleet ready. You don't want to lose time on your investment. It's kind of like being pot committed, except it's time instead of money.
Well, don't forget, you've also got the extra weight, so you're going to have to play with your build more than that.
Not if you have charged armors, you don't, which is another unfortunate,
Necessity for the charged armors? Yeah.
Basically, yes.
They're a luxury item, yeah.
Yeah, they're a luxury item, sure. I think
If luxury is getting points, okay.
Yeah, if luxury is getting points without it, like, I feel like, because I don't know, I haven't done it without charged armors, and there's sweet strats you can do with the gut spills, Skyfire, where you just heal that, and that's all well and good. I wonder, without those and without charged armors, like, what a good set of Phoenixes take to repair on an S set. Like, that's the number I want to know, because, like, is it approximately equal to the Blitz or significantly better? Because, yeah, sure, you don't have to, but if you don't, what's it going to cost you? Is it then cheaper to just, like, grind and put them on or not? Like, it's so difficult to understand what to do. And pulling back in general, I think one of the main problems with this raid and the last is that they catered fantastically to the high-end players. If you can get all your charged armors and get all your ducks in a row and your mechanics are on point, you do the targets for a small amount of repair. And one of the problems is it takes so much time. But they balanced it so poorly for basically everybody else. They admitted as much when they reduced the hit down penalty on the B sets, and they increased the bonus for the B sets. Like, that's a big mistake. And just the overall drop in participation. I know that titanium isn't that big of a deal, and even with this new use for it, the crafting of tokens, like, you have to already be invested into PvP for that to be worth it for you. And just not a lot of up-and-coming players are, because they're too busy building their fleets for the raid or the FM. It would have to be useful in PvE on what I feel like is a grand scale, and then that would just piss people off more, because then there's another big chore that they have to do on the level of probably uranium, not necessarily base parts, because we get so many structure built tokens in these TLCs. But then again, that's for players at the top of the game, and then I blue screen. So they need to tune it. They need to tune things for the mid-level players better, and I think they're learning that. They just need to do it properly. That's not going to fix all the problems, but it's a good first step.
Yeah, no, I agree. The other thing that I think, look who it is. Favorite
Howdy.
Battle Pirates professor.
Hooray!
How was the birthday?
It was delightful. Sushi
Make
was
it-
had by all.
Did you make it rain?
No.
Okay, all right. I'm sorry. Yeah, we covered most things. We can go back and cover some other things because it's. But right now we're talking about the last raid. This is the last slide.
Okay.
And basically, everybody's like, it's great. It was a really good raid for everybody that had all the tech and had built everything correctly and potentially got those 2-day tokens last time around and had all the charged armors and had the flagship and whatnot. It was a different raid for people that either were lacking one of the two, either the charged armors or the flagship or something, something like that. So, that's basically sort of the consensus because a lot of people, they got, their hundreds and millions of points, but
Right. And I guess I was in that group, right? I had a good build. I had 2 charged armor on each Phoenix, and I spent 7 coins to get a Brazilian points. I didn't get the Cadis, but I got lots of other stuff. So yeah. I mean, they got to make money from someone.
yeah, I guess so. But it sort of felt like, yeah, I mean, I guess so. Yeah, the other issue that was brought up was the lack of clarity associated with the lock store.
Yeah, that was different. And I think the point I saw made, I don't know if you already made it, was that people who really weren't PvP people who maybe were only interested in the locked store couldn't get there until they spent 40 million.
Yeah. So if you wanted to get like the example, I've talked about this earlier, but my situation personally was I had 4 Phoenixes with charged armors and skulled up, and then I had a guts build that I ended up finishing up for the raid, but I didn't have the charged armors to put on it. So my strategy, not knowing better, was to go out with my 4 Phoenixes, get 14 million, slap them on with the 3-day build token. I'm golden, right? As opposed to going out and having to get 54 million with 4 Phoenixes and then put that on. And now, you follow what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, as opposed to, yeah. And so that was deflating, I guess. Might be the best word. Realize it was much more difficult to do the S targets. The A targets were easy, but the amount of time was crazy in my mind to get all those points with A sets.
Well, wait. The 100 was the same, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
The 103 wasn't.
Well, the 103 was new, but I mean, the only thing really fundamentally harder about the 103 was that was Rudolph, right?
I think it hit hard. I think it hit harder. I think those weapons, at least personally, I thought they hit harder than the other ones.
I don't know.
Okay. All right. Let me see. Let me go back to. You have any interest to talk about some of the FM prizes? Have you taken a look at them yet?
I haven't run numbers to really look at them. I was just looking at them before. I mean, the missile looks good, right? I think it may be more important for like PvP, like base defense, because of how hard it hits.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about actually. I recently refit a Rhino for base defense and used tokens to put talons on it,
Mhm.
and I got more tokens this raid, and I might put Manus on it. Right? Why wouldn't I? To try and overcome deflection. And then I think this new special's pretty good.
Which special? The armor special.
No, the penetrative special.
I'm gonna have to disagree with you on that one.
Okay, I didn't like look at it too close. So, okay, here's the alternative. Well, so wait a minute. Why are you're giving up 2% accuracy for more speed?
Okay.
Why are you disagreeing?
Oh, well, especially if you have to refit it. If you have to spend 15 hours per ship just to get 25% projectile speed, I would put it as a low priority.
Yeah, but I really like projectile speed. You know, the one thing with my Phoenix build is on my Apollos, I had high velocity or whatever the
High velocity
high
rounds
velocity
gives you
rounds.
100%, doesn't it?
Yeah, and
Yeah.
it does, and it's really cool on those Apollos, and I like projectile speed. I might take the time to refit this. Although 15 days is kind of a weird time. If it was like closer to a day, I'd just use a 1-day FM token on it. But
Yeah, 15 hours. 15 hours. You're
yeah.
assuming that you're taking off the guided missile system, so I'm adding a little
Yeah.
time onto that with the refit penalty.
Yeah.
I mean, the one that I really, I mean, the pride of the litter, at least in my mind, is the alloy.com.
I actually didn't notice it was 55% penetrating. So, and we've always been saying corrosive does the bulk of the damage to you. So yeah, I guess yeah. So see, maybe you do a refit with this and the new missile, and that works out to a day, and you just do it with a FM 1-day token.
Yeah, this is the alloy. I have my alloy defense system, so I think that's the right name, in the Retro Lab at R15. So if you had it at R0, at both 45. But in the Retro Lab, only the penetrating defense gets boosted.
Okay, yeah, okay.
This is from my Intel lab. It's not from the briefing. That's why it's 55 and 45.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this is the one I think we've been waiting for a while.
Yeah. Okay.
But we were talking about it earlier. It appears, it's sort of hard to tell, but it appears a lot of the damage that takes place in these targets is a combination of damage.
Oh, is that why the Phoenix is always flash green? Because there's always a little bit of it? Corrosive,
a little bit
maybe?
of both.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to tell. I mean, we don't have data mining anymore, and they don't tell us.
I thought it was a bug, frankly.
Yeah, it's hard to tell.
Maybe it's combo damage.
I think it's both because, yeah, a lot of times I'll flash green, but sometimes I'll flash red. And it's the same thing hitting me.
I don't know. It seems like I flash green even like 91 megaships when missiles hit me.
Yeah. I've noticed that as well. If originally I only had the M charged armors, and I would always flash red, and it seems like I always flash green now that I put the corrosive on there. I don't know if one has precedent, or I'm not sure how that works.
Well, like when I have missile and explosive, on my like Zelos tank or whatever, it flashes the color based on the kind of damage I'm taking. If I take explosive, it flashes orange. If I take a missile, it flashes red. It works right for those. It's on the Phoenixes with something's not right, or it's always combo.
Yeah, I mean that's why we jumped to that assumption. Yes. So, well, should we the after show, or you got anything?
I got nothing else.
Okay. I mean, well, I guess one thing, I didn't put a slide together for it, but Rampage put together a discussion for the week dealing with moderation. Not drinking in moderation or all things in moderation, but how the forums are moderated. And does anybody, I mean, I have some opinions on it. Does anybody else have any opinions on it? Or I don't read the forums, da da da.
I thought you were banned.
I'm still allowed to read them. I have to do some weird things to even read them because it says
You have to log out.
Well, no, I have to go in and it says permission denied. And then I have to go to an old conversation that somebody else has responded to. And then I click on that and then it lets me in and then I'm allowed to read things after that. At that point, I'm allowed to read them. Or I could go incognito window and they'll allow me to merely read them.
Okay.
I'm allowed to read them.
So, it's no big secret. The moderators have been acting outside of the course and scope of their job description. Now, I understand that a lot of people will say that they're not paid employees and this and that, and that doesn't fucking matter. Shut up. You're wrong. Because
wrong that it doesn't matter, or wrong that they're not paid?
Wrong that it doesn't matter, because even if you're not, you're still a point of contact between the company and the players. Even though you're not officially on the payroll, you are elevated to a status of a point of contact. As someone who works at a public library,
you're a representative of XI, yes.
Yeah, it's as I work at a public library, and we have a lot of volunteers that go in and out. And while they may be hired through other services, they may or may not be paid depending. A lot of them are unpaid. But the thing is, if you're a volunteer and you do something that's just against the library's policies or incredibly stupid, or you screw up a bunch when we keep telling you not to, we're going to let you go. We did that over the summer. We legitimately fired 3 of our 5 volunteers because they were bad at their job. And when you
what exactly were they doing?
I cannot say for sure. But the day after they were fired, the police came by and talked to one of my coworkers.
Okay, alrighty. So they were selling weed in the library. Okay. Very good.
Well, that was on okay, well, technically in theory that's on dubious legal grounds, but we don't allow that sort of crap. Anyway, to the point.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Even if you're not paid, if you're volunteer, you're still seen as representative. You still have
right. They should do their
sort of do their job. Don't be mean to people
and without abusing power.
Yeah, without abusing power, without being rude to people that are just asking honest questions. Even if people are on a rant, no profanity, this and that, sticking to the formals. Hey, that's completely fine. But when you're on and you're attacking someone and accusing someone, from moderator's position, if you're on as a moderator and attacking and abusing and insulting someone who's asking an honest question, or even if they're, being a little pushy, because we've all had to suck it up when a customer is being pushy with us and we're in a position of, service, unless we want to get fired, in which case, yeah, sure, whatever. But you do have to suck it up and be polite and explain the rules to them. And if you're rude to that customer, that reflects negatively on whom you are representing. Even if I was an employee for the library or a volunteer and I was rude, that would reflect poorly on the library because I represent them,
your
even though
victim
I'm
doesn't
not paid by
care.
them.
Your victim doesn't care.
Yeah.
Whether you're paid or not.
Wait, I'm not sure if you're talking about his left door
and
or
respondeat superior is a thing, but I think that's a little bit different. But also, yeah, I mean, you know, you represent them. You know, if some volunteer was working at Cold Stone and I saw them spit in my ice cream, I'm going to get mad at Cold Stone for hiring that person. Like, that should not have happened. And yeah, that person is terrible and they're going to fire them, but there's also the decision of the people that decided to hire them. Kixeye decided to make these people mods, and on some level are like, they should take the consequences of the actions of those people. And yeah, if they, you know, relieve them of their mod positions, then, you know, it's kind of oh, things are better now. But if they're allowed to run rampant and go nuts, that's going to reflect poorly on Kixeye. And it does. And it did. And now I even saw a picture of an individual that is still a mod, who shall not be named, that was seen as overbearing in the past and, you know, rude for no real reason. They actually, you know, de-escalated the situation in a proper and professional manner befitting that of a forum mod. They did a good job. Good on them. And, you know, good on Major Rampage. I don't want to, you know, post hoc ergo Proctor hoc fallacy, however that is said, but since he joined, that's been seen a lot less, and you're seeing a lot more of moderators acting in a manner that more people would consider being befitting of a forum moderator. So good on everybody for doing a better job.
Right. Yeah. It was. No, I agree. I mean, I think I've seen a positive change with what's going on. The other thing that I was curious about is changing the way that make a single raid thread. It sometimes has 800, 1,200 posts in it. And that's where we're supposed to be getting information on the raid from. And I find that to be, you know, I think the last one was like 27 pages. You know, if a player wants to go and get information on what's going on in the raid, I don't think that's the way it's supposed to be done. It all gets merged together into some monster clusterfuck. I mean, my suggestion would be to potentially separate the raid. I want to use raid talk, raid info, or raid conversation, or whatever they want to phrase it, and make it a separate topic along with, you know, updates and whatnot, and general discussion and fan art and whatnot, and allow there to be multiple threads on individual subjects. Because, you know, of that, you know, of the 800 people that or 800 messages there, they weren't all about the same topic. And it's like a bubble thing where they're all just talking about different things, and you got to skip down 5 messages in order to figure out what the previous person was talking about. And it's just, it doesn't make any sense to me. I mean, that would be one of the suggestions I would make as far as how things were moderated, and limit the amount of merging of topics and whatnot. Because I do remember a Humorister made a you know, an April 1st post of work in progress, where the moderators get paid by the number of messages that they merged or deleted or whatever. And if you start looking at some of this stuff, it just appears to be the way it was, at least in my opinion. I mean, that really looked the way it was, because it was like, this does not create any sort of continuity of conversation. This does not inform anybody any better. This is just like a whole bunch of people yelling at you from different directions. And it doesn't make a lot of sense. And I think it's most important at raid time, which is one of their big revenue earning times besides VXP weekend. I'm not sure which one's bigger at this point. they had, continuity of message, and you had the ability to talk to people who are going through the same thing about the same topic, as opposed to having these crazy ass threads that were talking about whatever. I don't know. We can. That's just my thought.
All right.
I didn't do.
I don't visit the forum much anymore.
Why not?
I don't know. I mean, I guess a very low signal to noise ratio.
Okay. Alrighty. Alrighty. Well, unless anybody has anything else on that. You have anything on that, Rom?
Nope. Right now I'm good.
Alrighty. Well, I'm gonna.
I have something.
Okay, go ahead.
There's a glitch right now with the badges. Apparently, our friend Raptor found it out right now that he tried putting on an achievement that it got transferred to the badges, and he tried to put it as a badge, and now he can't change his badges. It's just empty.
All right. Okay. Well, we can make fun of Raptor for that. What is it? Is this something inappropriate?
No, it's an achievement. It's to participate in the July event achievement, and it kind of like got transferred to the badges. And if you click on it to put it on your base, it basically makes it it takes away your option of changing it back to anything else.
Well, I'm in the game now. I see it on my list. I guess I won't select it.
No, if you select it, you're not going to be able to do anything. Because I tried it myself.
Do we really worry about badges?
Don't personally.
Oh, I know what you say, Rum.
What does Rum say?
Badges?
Badges.
We don't need no stinking badges.
That's right. We don't need those stinking badges. I'm doing it without the Spanish accent. We'll go to the Schultz from what was that show? Was Schultz?
Schultz?
Yeah, the German guy with Hogan's Alley or Hogan's
Heroes.
Hogan's Heroes. Thank you. Sorry about that. I was having a brain fart. I have those frequently now.
That's
what happens.
Yeah.
So, is anything we're getting in the FM really worth it to refit right at this point in time?
Well, I mean, that's kind of what Hefe and I were just talking about. Is, I mean, I would definitely spend like an FM one-day token, especially where I'm at right now, where, okay, I'm done with my Phoenixes, and yeah, okay, I'd like to build Rages because they're pretty cool. But I'd definitely spend an FM one-day token to refit the new Com alloy and the new missile special over what I've got.
I mean, you could always add a couple of the missiles on the Phoenixes.
Yeah, but I mean, I think between those two special refits, I think it would be a little under a day.
Mm-hmm.
I'd spend token on that.
Well, I have hulls finished on all of the Rages, including the Reynas.
Yeah. I mean, I started my 4th just today.
I just, I'm so frustrated with base hitting right now, and with bases the way they're set up, that it's just becoming unfun.
Too easy or too hard?
No, you get things set up in your base to. Now, this is my experience, and I may not be the brightest guy with numbers the way you guys are, but just the way I'm thinking about it, and I started sending Hefe messages about this last night. You get your base set up to try to stop the Visagos Prides, the Inquisitors, whatever. Then there's a new Conqueror. So now we got to try to stop Rages, right? Which guys are saying there's easy ways to do it, and I understand there may be easy ways to do it. But if you switch up to stop Rages, how are you going to do against Inquisitors and Visago Pride, since the majority of people still have those, and not everybody's going to have the Rages? why can't we come to a way to stop a majority of fleets and only the best get through?
Yeah.
I don't enjoy going out. You know, I mean, if you think about it, the reward for base hitting is what? Status, medals, whatever it is.
Yeah,
No
it's
matter
bragging
what-
rights, certainly.
Okay, it's bragging rights. So you go out and smash somebody's base, but you can't stop them from smashing your base. So it goes back to war games. The only way to win is not to play.
Yeah, and it would be a little easier if there was, well, I guess there is overlapping defense in a way. Splash damage reduction would help both of those. The problem is,
Oh, it doesn't.
like,
It doesn't help because I've got that on mine. A ton
well,
of.
the problem is they pushed the radioactive weapons. They made them really super god tier awesome good. Where the heck is my spreadsheet? One rage with my super offense build is what? 625,000 damage in a volley.
Yeah.
Sup?
What are you going to stop?
How you
What are you
doing?
going to stop your base? I mean, what are you going to put in your base to stop it?
I mean, even 2 rad plates don't do too terribly much because shockwaves. And it's really easy to get shockwaves with that weapon. And there isn't a lot of inherent splash damage reduction. And we're not 100% sure if shockwaves count as splash damage reduction. So it's,
Even you, god of math, with your numbers, can you find a way to stop it?
I mean, well, that's the thing. I only spout the theory. I trust people like you, top PvPers, to put stuff in. But the other thing is they're going to be secretive with that sort of stuff. And, you know, hey, no problem. That's completely understandable. It's just there's so little overlap in defenses and so much power in that particular offense. Like, did you want to put the lead panels, the radioactive defense turret special on? You can't because it's too high a power. You're going to go overweight a lot of times. Just there's not enough options out to defend just yet. That's dinner for me. I got to go, but I'll be on for the after show. Bye.
Okay,
Bye.
Ryan, bye.
But see, that's part of my frustration. Is it used to be you could set your base up to keep out the majority of the fleets, and the good guys got in. Now it's when Kixeye decides they want your base to be beat, it's going to be beat, and there's nothing you can do.
Unless you're like ahead. I mean,
Hefe, how far ahead of the curve do you have to be? I have every single thing the game has to offer. And you mean I'm not a rich guy. I can't go out and coin every fleet as fast as some of these guys do. And it's always the same guys coining it all the time.
no, I'm not saying technologically. It's what I'm trying to say is it's sort of a guessing game of like what's going to come out next. I mean, if we had the works in progress and we had an idea of what's going to come out next, if we're going to have a radioactive, are we going to have a radioactive Conqueror Hall come out? People might treat things a little bit differently as far as how they did things. And I don't know that we had the answer until the raid, and I'm not sure we still have the answer. I mean, personally, I spent some Harlock's Alpha Behemoth tokens on putting the slinger on it.
Yeah.
And what? Didn't do any good for you?
No, I put it on there. And again, it depends upon what you're going to protect against and what you're going to do. And the reason why I say that is I forget who it was. Somebody came in with 2 Sloth, a Visago's Pride, a Pride, and a Survivor, and walked my base like it was made of cotton candy, and they sprinkled it with water.
Oh.
So, like I say, you protect yourself against one thing, you try to get it set up right, but you make yourself weak to several other things.
That's true. I mean, and because you have to maintain a balance. Yeah, and it's
But
so
if-
tricky. So
Yeah.
tricky. I
Go
agree
ahead.
with you. I'm agreeing with you.
I understand, but that's where my frustration right now lies. If you come up with a good balanced defense, you lose to everything. You know, Kickside is always complaining about trying to find a balance and make sure everything stays balanced. No, they're not. You cannot balance this game the way it's set up right now. You cannot do it.
Yeah, I sort of wonder how they test the Conquer Halls. I know historically, years ago, I'm not sure if he was in the position of GDA or GDR or which position he was in, but there was a group together, you know, and he would test out base hitting on this group of players that was, you know, they weren't all the same. They were all big corners, but they were all smart players in the game. And he would test the bases on that. You know, in Sector 0, not actually in game. And I'm just wondering if they're testing that way, or if they're testing against, you know, this is the best possible way to set up a base based on all the knowledge that we have, stuff that's not included in the blueprints and whatnot. I'm just wondering, it'd be interesting to know how they're testing these things out, because there's been so many things that have been overpowered. You know, from the Muddle Gluts, you know, the whole Muddle Missile has been a disaster. I mean, it's been way too overpowered, and I don't even know how they tested that, personally. But I think they need to test these things against actual player bases, not against Kickside design bases where everybody knows every last thing. I think that would be potentially a good step. Maybe they're testing it the same way that they were before, where they're testing it against, you know, smart players in the game and whatnot, but it doesn't really feel that way, because they're taking things to such extremes at times. You know, as far as, you know, it's all corrosive, or it's all radioactive, it's all corrosive again, and back and forth. I just wish I knew how they were testing things in order to come up with these builds.
I don't know. All I know is I've been playing this game not as long as you guys. I have sunk a fair amount of coin. I'm not the world's biggest coiner. I'm getting so burned out right now. They're taking away the pleasure in base hitting, because if I can't protect what I go out and get by hitting bases, what am I coining the repairs on my base hitting fleets for?
Yeah.
You know, just because somebody goes out and spends more coins than I do, and that takes away what, to me, the point of coining was for. Coining is not to gain it shouldn't be to gain a complete game advantage. It should be a time advantage.
Mm-hmm.
And right now, it's he who coins the fastest wins the most. I know Kix loves that, but that doesn't do anything for gameplay.
I think it's always been that way.
No, because not to the extremes that we're seeing at this point.
But
where it's like, you know, because I got hit by, you know, the whole rage fleet and whatnot, you know, just earlier today.
I got hit by a ranked, not a full ranked, but a ranked fleet of 5. 1 Reyna, 4 rage.
Yeah,
Thursday morning or Friday morning.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so yeah.
What would help you? I mean, they considered what the players' bases look like now, or the fact that you knew about something about these fleets a week ahead of time or a month ahead of time, like the works in progress. What would be more helpful, do you think, for you as a player that's willing to spend some coin in order to protect your base? Would be with having the information ahead of time, or at least general information, not exact stats and whatnot. what do you think would be most
You know,
helpful to you?
I wish I had that exact answer because I realize how this sounds by me talking about this the way I am. I can't keep up with the other guys, so I'm getting my feelings hurt, even though I'm a mid to moderate level coiner, that I can't keep up with the big boys, so they're going to take advantage of me. That's not it. It's about enjoying the game. And I don't know that I have the answer. I don't know that I'm smart enough to have the answer. All I know is right now it feels really broken, and I can't get up the gumption to go out and beat bases the way that I used to. You saw what happened to me the last 2 weeks, Hefe.
Yeah.
When we go out and hit
Yeah.
bases, I take the same fleet that's killing me, and I can't do anything with it. And I don't feel like I'm stupid. I feel like I have an understanding of the mechanics. Guess what? I can't hit a base, and I can't stop anybody in my base. And that's with the latest toys.
But
Hey, Daniel.
well, I've always known that the people that have the coins have the advantage, especially during my early times in the game, where it's always seems like the newest fleet would be the one that would be hitting all the bases until we get like a new wall, or maybe we get a new turret, or maybe we get a new defender. That would be the norm of this game. Always been. Well, from my perspective, I don't know about everybody else's.
The prof has gotten quiet.
Yeah.
I think he's getting a beer or something.
Okay. And I recently started hitting bases and stuff, but I've heard especially from the TFC, they said that people are stopping the rages now. So
Yeah, well, okay, so you stop rages, and then somebody comes back in with a Visago's Pride or Pride, 2 slots. And, I mean, Cataclysm mortars were doing nothing. So you try out the new turrets that you put in your base to try to stop something. The new turrets don't do anything. So now that you've taken the Cataclysms out of your base, they set slots anywhere they want to. So you try to get them with missiles. You can't. They put a survivor in front of it to shield the fleet. Like I said, there's more options on one side than there are the other.
Yeah, and the turrets are not.
The turrets are totally ineffective.
Yeah, they're not nearly as powerful as the ships that you put in. And
I agree with that part. But isn't it supposed to be a strategy of you bring in the right equipment for the job?
Yeah, but
it's more like strategy to don't have the wrong equipment, and everybody's got the wrong equipment except for one guy.
We don't necessarily have all the information that we're supposed to have to process.
No. And you're a perfect example of that, Daniel, whenever you read those numbers off that were actually on the data mined information. That's not on the blue. That's not right. That shouldn't happen.
Yeah, no, I understand that one. I hate not having that information, and now that everyone says that the data mining people are basically out of the game, where are we going to get our information from?
Yeah, who knows?
I mean, I would really hope that they release some of this information on a larger scale, because things like we got the radon slinger. We don't know the stacks on that in order to get a shockwave. How do you strategize in order to use that properly? Like, if you're going to use it, it's fairly obvious it works well offensively. But if you try to use it defensively, you even go for the shockwave. I mean, if it's 120 stacks, you're not going to get that out of one ship. You're going to get that out of 5 ships or 4 ships or whatever. So how do you make your decisions on how you build without having the information of how many stacks creates a shockwave?
Well, here we go again. What did they do to the res cap on the Reyna's Rage? They put it in a position on the blueprint that it has absolutely 0 effect or a negative effect on your boats. So how do you get 5 boats in there to create the stacks that you need to do the massive damage?
Yeah. That also speaks to, you have to coin it, experiment, watch other people that coin it, that experiment.
Yeah, and what's the key among all those things that you just said? Either coin it or watch other people coin it, and that's where it comes down to. Hey, I know they've got to monetize the game. I know they have to pay the bills. I know they have to keep the servers up and running for us, but make it freaking fair. Put the information out there. Don't make everything depend solely on coin. Don't make me say, okay, here's $3. I'm going to put ResCap on there. Here's $3 more. I'm going to put what is the battery called?
President's battery.
Res battery. Okay, so that doesn't work. Okay, so let's try something that's going to give me more splash. Here's $3. Here's $3. Here's $3. Who's going to keep doing that when nothing works? Because you don't know how it's going to affect. Now think about the number of variables on the ship that you have to play with. How each special interplays with the other specials. And if there are hidden variables on those blueprints, you don't know what's really affecting anything.
Yeah, because we don't see stuff like minimum splash and like I talked about stacks to get a shockwave and things of that nature, which it seems like they should be included. At least personally, I think they should be included in order to allow players to make decisions as far as how they build their ships and their turrets and whatnot. But these, just this information should be out there because I don't know why it's kept secret.
Well, because people coin stuff and it puts more money in their pockets. Yeah. That's the only thing it can be.
And yes, no, I would really like some of the info out there, like maybe projectile speed, like or maybe how the arc of the mortars and stuff, or the arc of the missiles.
Okay, so let's talk about what they just brought out for us today. They gave us a missile on there that says something to the effect of having the right specials on the boat to keep the reload up or whatever. What was it, F.A.? Is that what it was?
Yeah, but that one was, that one's just, you can see it's got a slower reload speed.
Well, no, yeah, but my point is, they don't give you, if every blueprint we get doesn't have exactly what the reload speed or what affects reload, how are we supposed to know what the right specials are unless we put all of them on there to find out? And that requires a lot of coining or a lot of wasting of tokens. I can't tell you how many 60 tokens I've wasted on 3-day refits.
Would it make sense if we put something together? The shows are sort of about that, but in a more
well, not as systematically.
Yeah, systematic system to figure everything out, because that would be overcome. That would be overcome. They would change things accordingly. You think?
Sure, they would.
Well, I'm not sure that what we're talking about right now is
show worthy.
Yeah, well, live worthy. We can talk about whatever. So I think we'll probably proceed to the after show. I think it's interesting. It's just not. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I understand. I'm fine with it.
Okay. Alrighty. Well, I'm going to. As soon as I end this show, I'm copying and pasting it right now. I'm going to put a link for anybody who'd like to join the show, the after show, and see you all on Friday.
Mm-hmm. Good night.
Bye.
Good night, people.